Our bodies feel that this war will end, can't live without the ache. I'm reaching out across this madness for truth. Break from these chains and make my kingdom you. Your body moves to the boom, boom, boom. Heart pounds from across the room. No more secrets, no more lies. Blood moon rises, fire up the sky. Put your hands on me. Put your trust Put your hands up. Put your hands
Welcome, everybody. I know some of you were dancing. Let me know if you're dancing in the chat. I know some of you were dancing. If you are feeling my playlist, let me see your emojis. Or else. Welcome, cool people. Welcome to another amazing session. So far so good. How are we finding the course content? How did we find the first MCQ? How are we doing? Let me know in the chat, how are we doing? If the chat ain't working, let me know in the Q&A. How are you doing? How are we feeling today? All right. I hope we have been going through the materials on Athena. We're preparing ourselves. We have been practicing our Python and our SQL. I hope we have been practicing. Alrighty. Our chat function is off. And Marise is saying they are doing okay. It's not yet overwhelming yet. I am happy to hear you say that. Awesome. Please don't forget to grasp the concept so that when we are writing code, you follow along, you understand what is happening. It makes a lot of sense to you. And when it's time to showcase your portfolio, you're confident enough to explain why you did what. Now, all right. Someone says they're doing okay. Awesome. I'm happy to hear that. I'm your one and only data scientist / technical mentor, Kayode John Balogun. And today I'll be holding your hand as we look at the big data framework architecture. We'll talk about data governance, security, and lineage. Don't forget, if you have any questions, fling them in the Q&A. You can also use the chat feature liberally, which I encourage you to, because I'm going to be asking you guys. And listen, learn, and as usual, engage once again in the chat, using the chat feature. All right, let's jump in. I'm happy to say we can jump in because at least no one is complaining yet. Everybody's, at least the representative of everybody is saying it is not yet overwhelming. Good. So we can study the concepts. And even though I said yes, we're focusing a lot on the concepts. Today we'll still do just a little practical, because more often than not, all right, hi Jethro, more often than not, when you build pipelines, you mentioned there's the architecture, there's the word architecture there. It's expected of you to show your architecture, the structural diagrams to show this is my design, this infrastructure came here, this software or hardware came there, and this is how everything connects together. This everything is interconnected. This also helps with the governance and lineage. In case there's an audit, in case something goes wrong somewhere. The beautiful thing about the engineering is that the pipeline could be working. Excuse me, and like I mentioned earlier, it could still be a failure. So if you want to audit, and not just that, let's say you do an amazing job and you want to replicate that, or others want to replicate that, you're not a consultant, you fire away, there is a paper trail. I know some of us, for some of us, this is not our first rodeo in tech. We use platforms, open source resources that have been created by companies. They did it for themselves, but it became the standard. And then even programming languages, and then everybody worldwide adopted it. So these are just some of the reasons why we may do what we do. Now, like I mentioned, architecture, governance, lineage. These components work together to enable the full data lifecycle, from raw ingestion to insights. So you find out that, okay, we'll talk about data sources that generate data like sensors, uh, devices, web logs, and CRM. We're having a small practical. I'll illustrate that for you. And then data ingestion, where it transfers data to storage or processing systems, either batch or streaming, aka real-time pipelines using Kafka, or even data storage, where you can store large volumes using our Hadoop file system or NoSQL or our Amazon S3 bucket. And also talk about data processing, where we're using tools like Apache Spark. I know I'm saying this because by the time we get there, it's going to be a wonderful journey. We're going to have a lot of fun. I hope we're practicing our Python. Are we still practicing our Python, please? It's going to be fun, actually. No, I just um don't mind my demeanor, but it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have fun, a lot of fun together. I'm giving you guys cheat sheets with a different cohort. We're right there now, and we're having fun. So don't worry about PySpark. Yeah, so this is to clean data and to transform our raw data, and then to do analytics. I'm sure some of us who went to the DA program are cool with Power BI or other dashboards to present our data. And then data security, where we use different tools to create metadata, ensure that there's data quality, follow compliance, and things like that. Are we still together, people? Are we still following? Okay. So the beautiful thing about this course, and when we start talking about concepts, is that we could spend the rest of the year talking about just data sources or even data ingestion. Data storage, what I want you all to grasp the concepts and understand what's going on, and keep this in mind before we advance. So I'm saying this because I'll be asking you questions when we are designing a diagram and architectural diagram, and ask you what goes where, and yeah, the likes. So, like I said, within a little practical, you've had an idea of, I can go back to, can look at it. Don't worry, I'm not a tax master. I want all of us to understand and learn what's going on. We have seen examples of how data sources can come into the picture, so we can ingest our data, how we can store it, how we process it and use it for analytics and um, regulatory compliance laws that we have to follow. Now, let's say, from what you know so far, you're working for a global logistics company and they want to modernize their data platform. They want to support better analytics and faster decision making. Definitely, just to get more profits. And your job is design an architecture diagram that A, captures real-time package tracking data from IoT devices on trucks. IoT devices, like maybe there's a tracker. Some of you have those in your cars. Some of there's this one that Apple makes, Air, I've forgotten, Air something. What do you call it again? Can someone remind me in the chat? If you can stick it on something and it lets you know its location. Okay, I'm seeing, let me check the chat. I think someone has, yeah, AirTag. Thank you very much. Example of an IoT device or a microphone or a dash cam or something. And then they want that on their truck to know everything about their truck, obviously. And the information it gets, it ingests the batch delivery performance reports submitted daily from regional warehouses. So that different regional warehouses, end of close of business, they submit a report. Now, we want all this data to be stored efficiently for both compliance and archiving, because as data engineer, I always keep saying it and I always keep hammering it. Am I too fast, guys? Let me know if I'm too fast. All right. All right. You are in the big leagues now. So compliance should be part of your keyword. I know I'm saying it. Even at this stage I'm in, at times I have ideas. I'm like, let's do this. And they're like, sorry, this country has this, I work and they're like, this country has this law. So sorry, we can't pursue this idea. Yes, it comes to that stage. You're no longer doing personal projects or trying to get a certificate or complete a tech course. The wrong step, your company could be fined, people could be jailed, there could be litigation. So compliance comes in. And this, when I say please study the concepts, this should even affect the way you write code. I recently built something and I had to ensure to make sure that, okay, learners' information or the users of the particular application, their identity could not be taken. Or even if someone was going to hack, it was useless or scrambled information they are going to get. That's why when we get to security, we're talking about anonymization and encryption. Because if there's a data breach, I'm sure you've all heard of data breaches. Everybody looks at you as incompetent. Nobody wants to hear, sorry, it was working on my laptop, or when I did the ALX course, I did not bother about all these, and then I still passed on my MCQs. It will make the news and social media and the dragging and the trolling and everything goes forward. So, like I said, it always has to be at the back of your mind. Archiving too. Might never know why you need that information or why this truck or logistics company needs the information. And then the output of all this data, the BIT for you to access it for reporting and for building their dashboards. Data scientists should be able to build predictive models to help the company do the needful, i.e., make more profits. So remember, for ingestion, okay, I think color codes like blue, green, orange, purple. So for you guys, I'll say do not stress yourself with the color codes for now. Yeah, don't. But professionally, I don't want to have a headache about it. I just want you to grasp the idea of the diagram, of the architecture, why we do what we do, and what fits where, what particular platform is best used for what, especially now that we're handling big data. I'm sure you all know why we've graduated from storing our data on spreadsheets. But technically, more often than not, professionally, you use your blue to indicate data ingestion. You use your green for storage, your orange for processing. And let's say for analysis, we use purple. So this is if you're using standard diagrams, they look like flowchart diagrams. But these days, you can actually just even get the exact icon. So you can get the logo of the S3 bucket or even your Power BI logo and just use in the diagram. That's why I say don't really stress yourself about this. So for data ingestion, you see we use tools like Kafka, Apache NiFi, and then for data storage, you can use HDFS, NoSQL, S3 bucket. If you're in the mood, you can use your laptop. For processing, Apache Spark, Think, Hadoop, MapReduce to clean and transform raw data. You guys know our national anthem. Data, in the real world, comes in messy and dirty. In ALX, we clean it up a little bit. Even if we want you to clean up something, it's just for academical purposes, but in the real world, it's a lot more messier. So, when you get using Spark, you know what it's like is the how I put it, at times like adding 1 plus 1 1,000 times, because at times you have to check, does this value make sense? Is there a value that's not supposed to be on this data set? You use your Apache PySpark to check for those and yeah, do some transformation and cleaning. So then for analytics, yeah, for all of us DDA program, you've played with your Power BI before. So you have something like this. So now let's talk about the color coding, the what you call it, the the colors like blue, green, sorry, excuse me. All right, the color coding for blue ingestion, green for storage, this is what I was talking about. So the architecture, more often than not, when you build a pipeline, you build a project, it's on your GitHub, you are presenting to a client, this is expected of you. Can we all see my screen? All right, okay. You guys can see mine. So this is expected of you to show. So how can we do this? There are so many tools we can use to do this. And it's not just building, this also helps in your planning. It also helps you visualize. When you're not just writing code, you're not just helps you, it gives you a visual image for those of us who are visual learners of how things flow, how things move. There are different tools to create this. So when you're presenting, like I said, creating your README on GitHub, etc., to clients, to your team, your project portfolio showcase, you can select any tool of choice. I just went to where is it, what you call it, a free one I saw online. This is draw.io. If you go to Athena, you will see different examples of different tools you can use. So more often than not, the specifications from here, you can, especially from here, from what the client wants, they want this, you can copy this and copy this, write on a piece of paper. You can even come here and write it in a text box. So you can drag your text box to that. Okay, choose items. Okay, let's say. So if you want to, you can item one, you can say to save time instead of typing it, I will just come in. What does the company want? I want to capture real-time tracking data from IoT devices on trucks. You can come here and place it. So, excuse me, Z. All right. So here we go. So, let me move this. So you can go on and on and on and write out all the requirements here. You can, from the requirements, you can come to the color coding if you want to do that, and copy what you have here and paste here. Can use the item or you could use the notes to just give notes to guide in your diagram and before you go around creating your code. So like we said, first requirement, we're told we want to be able to capture real-time package tracking data from IoT devices on trucks. Before I continue, are we still together, people? I hope everything makes sense. I hope everybody knows how we got here. All right. So we use blue color coding, a rectangle for data ingestion. So here's a rectangle. We come here, place a rectangle here. We say, we want to fill it. Let's fill it with a color blue. So let's give it blue. All right. And then we say we want real time IoT devices. Real time IoT devices on trucks. And what tool would we be using to ingest this data? Yes, everybody says we are following. I mentioned this tool like 3 times or at least twice. So what tool would we be using? Thank you, Jethro. We're using, oh there. We're using, let me spell Kafka. Yeah, Kafka. Cool. Cool. So we have a requirement here. So next, item 2. What did they say they wanted again? They're like they want to ingest delivery reports from warehouses, not just trucks. Submitted daily from all the regional warehouses. Cool. I have no problem with that. Let us ingest the way. After all, we are data engineers. So we put this second requirement here. Okay. And put second requirement here. And then I'm just duplicate this since we are both ingesting, and then you see, let's just say batch warehouse report. And then this kind of tricky. So I'll just answer this myself. The airflow to orchestrate. Now, oh, well done, Andrews. You see, I normally wait till towards the end of the course before I say take your certificates. For Andrews, you are on track. I'm sure in a couple of weeks, I'll also say you're ready for your certificate. You can take it and go. You're good to go. So, yeah, airflow. And then this has to enter somewhere before we process it. We have to store it somewhere. So we could use what should I call it? We could use a cylinder, green cylinder for storage, illustrate our S3 bucket. Let me see if we can get the icon for an S3 bucket. Yeah. Let me search for more shapes. 3D. Can I get S3 buckets? It's no while I've used it, but let me see if I can get let me see if I can get S3 buckets. Yeah, a lot of generative AI is going to come into this course, and it's so awesome. Even when we get to Docker, because it's how we do things now. It's the new age. So while we're trying to generate the image of an S3 bucket, instead of using a green cylinder, maybe for Snowflake, I use a green cylinder. I just want to see, you can see, like I said, a lot of Gen AI is going to come to this course. We're agentic engineers now. The world has changed. So in this day and age, you could prompt an LLM, help me build, no, just image. You see, exactly, it didn't give me what I want. So image of, and so you see, I have to know the concepts. S3. If not, it will be garbage in, garbage out. You still have to sit down and plan, because even your planning helps you get a better output from the AI you're using to create your work. Are we still together? Oh, exactly what we are doing here. You could prompt it out. But especially when you've not built something before, when you are writing out the problem piece by piece, you even start having idea of how to even structure to write your code. You know, okay, this is what we need, this is what we want. I start from here, I start from here, I start from here, and then you start having an idea of the entire picture. So, okay, it is in the mood to give us what we don't want. Should I tell it picture? In the good old days, it will just let me give it one last chance. Let me see if we can get an S3 bucket. Okay, no. Let me give you one last chance. Can I get a picture of an S3 bucket? Okay, yeah. Let me see. S3 buckets. Before it wasn't like this. It used to, if you get it wrong this time, we just use the classical. So you can see, imagine on the day you want to present a building, your LLM is misbehaving, but you know, okay, cylinders signify storage. And then you build it that way. When someone asks you, I'm like, yeah, now, although you can go online and get the image of an S3 bucket and use, but I'm sure you guys get the gist. Yeah. It's just like when you see when you're writing stuff down, I just want just the bucket. When you're writing stuff down, you retain it more. I think it's something like that. Helps you thinking too. I don't know why. Thank you. Finally. So we could say I could copy this and come here and paste here. Allow. Yay, we have the Amazon. Let me reduce the size. We have our Amazon S3 bucket. So we could, okay. This is okay. Amazon S3 bucket. Arrows. Yeah. So we could say from here to here and uh, no, you don't meet at any point in time. So you guys observe something. I'm not allowing it say the arrows meet at any point in time. Because if they meet at any point in time, it is inside the S3 bucket. And then your diagram is wrong. Can you guys see what I'm struggling with here? When I'm trying to draw this the S3 bucket, it's joining here. Can you guys see what's happening here? Which I do not want to happen. Can you guys see my screen? Can you understand why I don't want it to show that? Yes. So what part of the infrastructure is that happening? So it doesn't make sense. It is wrong. It is confusing and might cause issues because, yeah, this might be a light-hearted example, but it's serious too. This should show what your code looks like, what your infrastructure looks like. So I don't know whether I would do it here or okay, let me reduce the size. Let me don't worry, we'll get it this time. I'm here, and then yeah. Ah, no worry. I know what to do. Okay. Lead. So I think what I'll do is just to make this guy bigger. SG bucket, make it bigger. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I think we kind of fixed that. Um, yeah, thank you, Andrews. And then next, item 3. We say what's item 3? Item 3, it should ingest, sorry, it should store raw data experience for, so yeah, our S3 bucket, which we've created. So I still put that there. Item 3, Control V. Item 4, okay. So we have to make sure that it provides clean and transform data to a BI team and to data scientists for reporting. Let me just put this to requirement over here. For BI team and data scientists. And we spell and again, and DS for reporting dashboards. Let me add prediction. Prediction. All right, prediction. So we have to process this data to make it good and ready. I don't know if I've mentioned this before. Okay, now I've mentioned, but I'll say, so this data I want to process, what are we going to use to process it? Please let me know in the chat. All right, so Spark. We use the gears icon for processing. Come here, label, rename, let's see, data processing, Spark. Oh, she's getting to be able to reduce size of a object, but it's cool. Data processing Spark. So we've processed it, but we need to keep it somewhere now, nice. And I know we've not gone into data warehouses and the rest, but we have to keep it in a neater storage. Yes, bucket can take everything, but let's keep it somewhere neater for our Power BI guys, our data analysts, and our software engineers. So bring in a cylinder. We fill it in. Nope. Cylinder, let's green. Yeah, and then our data warehouse. Let's see. The warehouse. Let's build, yep, the warehouse. Which can be completed. Let's give it this snowflake. We'll make it bigger, make it look nicer. We'll arrange all this. In fact, let's start now. And put this here. Okay. There's space. Bring this over here. No, just make it look neat. Bring this over here. Yeah. Bring this here. And bring this dude over here. Keep it cartoon. At the warehouse, snowflake. And then I think I should be able to generate Power BI logo. I want an image, not a diagram. The image of the Power SBI logo. Yeah. So while it's doing that, let's draw our arrows once again. Our arrows. Yeah. So hmm, just come in a straight line. Ugh. Our Power BI logo. Now let's copy it. It's ready. Place it somewhere here. Shrink it a little bit. Here we go. And then data scientists down Amazon, do use something called SageMaker. Image of image of the Amazon SageMaker logo for predictions. All right, here we go. Come here. Come here. Feed this dude. Let me shrink this. Okay. Yeah. Okay, we'll do. SageMaker logo, copy it. Paste here. Shrink it a little bit. Put it over here. Aha. And we're done. For this, we could say, yeah. Let me delete this. This is this. Okay, so there from this guy. Yeah, I want to straightforward into that bucket. Cool. So, we're done and done. So, just something very simple for starters. Does this make sense, people? So when you start building projects and the likes, at times if you don't know where to start from, but that shouldn't be the use case. Even if you know where to start from, there's nothing like you taking your time out to build this out. And then make references to it if you ever get stuck or if you run into issues. I hope we're still together. All right. So you can put as much information as you want here. You could use the note icon. You could use whatever here just to make your life comfortable and your specifications and label and yeah, you go ahead. And then when you are building, you can take a picture of this and if you have a whiteboard or something anywhere, just keep it as a reference so that this is how your pipeline, this is what your pipeline looks like. Now, we can now kindly jump back to our slides. So we have built our solution and company is very happy and maybe they've given us a raise. We can now jump to security. So yes, in okay, how do I approach this? let me give a small pop quiz. We can always ensure security across every step of the way, even from the physical nature of the warehouses or the data centers we are using down to our pipeline and the software. Yes, we can make sure not everyone has access to our Power BI or our S3 bucket, but when it comes to security for our pipeline, in the diagram we just created or the architecture we just illustrated, what tool, we mentioned Kafka, Airflow, Spark, and the likes. What tool can help us in security when it comes to security, securing the information or the data set? I'm waiting for your answers in the chat. What tool would we use? Okay, I'm seeing a question by Chidi, but let me answer. Let me see your replies to my own question first. Then I'll answer yours, Chidi. When it comes to ensuring security, let's say we've not talked about security before. You guys haven't heard about security. What tool do you think we can use to help the security or to secure our data set? Or at least perform encryption. I'm beginning to give you guys the answer. Okay, yes. So what tool in the diagram I illustrated? If you want to encrypt, what tool would you use? I'm not going back to diagram because we're staying at it for a long time. Thank you very much, Chizzy. You are very, 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 very correct. Yes, authentication tool is perfect on every step of the way. Every application you use, they have their own proper guidelines to help with security. But I'm not saying for our data set, we wanted to encrypt something or the data set itself, what tool would we use? And I'm glad Chizzy got it correctly. She said Spark. You are also correct. But let us just mention the tool to see if the diagram we retained any information from the diagram. So Chizzy asked the question saying, at what point in the course will we have to do this on our own? So the answer is in two folds. And I'll give you the two answers. At no point and at every point. Does that make sense? At no point and at every point. What do I mean by that? With this course, I think the only thing where we can hold over your head and say, okay, you must, if you don't, is the MCQs. If you want certificate, you must submit your MCQs. Beautiful. Every other thing, attending the webinar sessions, yes, you might get legacy points, you might get rewards here or there, you might be recognized, you might get a certificate for being most supportive, maybe get recognition for being a VA, volunteer ambassador, or an alumni that helps. But you are not under compulsion to do any of those things. If you have your MCQs, you are good to go. But along the way, especially when we get to week 11, medallion, Andrews, the medallion. But then okay. Oh, you meant at what point do you decide type of to use? Okay. Not what type. He will get there, Andrew. It depends on what you need. Sorry, I'm just reading your question properly now. Just kind of obscure. It depends on what you need. When you get there, when you realize what you need, when we talk about that, you see, okay, this is what I need. So I'll go with this model. More often than not, we commonly go with the medallion. More often than not. So where was I? Yes, you will not be. Does that answer your question, Andrews? So more often than not, you will not be compelled. But by the time by week 10, 11, you're asking you to present for the showcase. We want to see the pipelines you've built. This could help boost your ranking. or degrading. If you don't submit, the portfolio is not, you're not going to be penalized, not going to be punished. No. If you don't submit, it's fine. Not everybody does. But if you do submit, these are the kind of things we'll look out for. If you do a personal project, which we encourage you to do, to create, you post it on LinkedIn, on X, on even Instagram, on TikTok, and in a way you're building your portfolio, your CV in a way you want to be seen, maybe you want that new job or you want that client. These are the things that will be looked out for. Are we still together? And if by some miracle you never asked for it, you never did it, at least if a time comes, maybe down the line you are asked for it, you know how to create it, not just for your pipeline, but for any other project you're working on. Are we still together, Cheesy? So, Cheesy, does that answer your question? All right. The yes with the hyphen, is there a special meaning to the hyphen or is that a typo? All right. All right. So we can jump into security. You can see here from the slides, I can't even overemphasize how important data security is. Failing in that aspect could lead to things that we would not want. You can see things like financial loss, reputational damage, legal repercussions, and the list goes on. So remember, when it comes to data security, three things should come to mind. The CIA. No, not the real CIA. I mean, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. I don't know where your mind went to. And following regular relevant regulations, every country has theirs. One of the common ones are GDPA. I think the POPIA for South Africa. All this ensure a robust security framework. Even though they are not mandatory, but you follow them to avoid matters that touch the heart, or how do they say it before? It is very important as much as you can that you do. I do not overlook this in everything you do. I don't know. I don't know how to stress this any further, but please, this concept should be the blueprint of how you go out. We assume you're already on your career as data engineers. So this concept should be at the back of your mind, please. They normally say ignorance is not an excuse before the law. Yeah. So when it comes to personal identify information, the way I'm saying this because more often than not, if I'm building an application where I know I don't have a robust team, I can say, because some organizations they have teams where a particular of people are just focused on security. If you don't have a robust team, if few people have a lot to juggle, there might be issues. So from the very first specifications, I try to reduce, I think of security, I try to reduce access points where people could penetrate. For example, I'm a big fan of building security applications that store data on your device, zero back end as much as possible. So if you have the application or there's app or anything, any information should be stored on your device, not sent to any backend. Zero logins. Yes, there's some applications that require backend where you have to log in. You want international or local leaderboards. That's by the way. But before I digress and enter a different topic or field entirely, please security is very, very important. Like I said, we starting from physical security. Not anybody should have access to our data centers, our data warehouses. Really, the correct people should have access there. There's many videos online of how people use social engineering to breach and enter where they are not supposed to. And then we talk about identity and access management, managing who has access to, the system and infrastructure. If you're on AWS, you find out it's very, you have to set up your IAM to do one or two things and give permissions. And then the perimeter. So, oh, I forgot. I think so. The question I wanted to ask about security. So, talking about protecting the network. Normally, depending on the platform, if you were building the architecture we created, if we're doing it on Azure or AWS, you have to show your security layer with the diagram, with dotted lines. What can access this? What can't access this? How you protect the network. But like I said, this is just something simple, a template and a guide. Let us know going forward how to do one or two things. So you make sure that unauthorized access to the network is denied. You enable firewalls and use other security methods that will protect you from attacks and unwanted traffic. Yeah. So, like I mentioned earlier, the network, you monitor it. You put in restrictions like denying access by default. You don't allow the public access it. Especially maybe it's an internal application, and you control incoming and outgoing traffic. And then the compute, these are the resources. Make sure that the resources are secure and safe to use. You use various security layers, you use antivirus, anti-malware, etc. So the last pillar, focusing on the applications, the one facing the customers or the employees. Very integral to when you're designing. Make sure we use our encryption protocols, correct passwords should be used, and even those who have passwords, let them know. That's why it is if you are signing on to platforms, they'll say use a special character, they'll give you rules and regulations. These are the things we have to keep at the back of our minds to ensure security of our applications and our pipelines. So you find out that more often than not, attackers, if they want to access data stored in databases, either on premise or in the cloud. You must make sure, yes, before I continue, for some of us, maybe we've not got to that stage where it is our core responsibility. But if you keep growing, you actually get to that stage where it is your responsibility to make sure that access data is properly managed. Yeah, you not just join the company, even if more often than not, they want years of experience, even if so, you not just join and then you're handed the keys to the kingdom to protect. But when you get to that stage, you find out that this is your responsibility. And the matter of fact is, no matter how you, what you call it, no matter what you do, not just in security, even your pipeline. That is why we keep hammering on these concepts. So we don't want you pulling out your hair when things don't go according to your plan or according to plan. You can still do everything wrong. And sorry, you can still do everything right and something will still go wrong. I keep hammering this. Your code can be excellent, your pipeline running, but the pipeline still it will still be a failure. You can follow all the guidelines and principles laid down to secure your data, to secure your pipeline, to secure your application, your infrastructure, but it's still breached. But so you now say, what is the use of doing all this? The thing is, when you do all this, excuse me, one, you reduce the likelihood or the possibility. Two is that if an audit happens, you'll be found blameless in that you did everything possible. Are we still together? In that you did your very best. You followed all the guidelines. You went all the checklist, and it's not on you. You're not having an excuse, just that you did your best and it was beyond insurance. People in the insurance industry say acts of God. Yeah. So I think we're together on that. So just to talk about security some more. When we get to Spark, we'll be focusing on encryption, I'll just quickly breeze through that. We won't get too technical about that. So there's symmetric and asymmetric. Symmetric where we're using a single key. Asymmetric where there are two keys. Is a single private key used like in the banking industry, and then asymmetric encryption where there are two keys shared with the public key, private key, and the decryption requires a private key, and use that in like crypto transactions. If for those of you who are into cryptocurrency, so yeah, I'll just talk about encryption. Although the other means like erasure, masking, and the likes, but let me just quickly touch on that and keep that in mind. But as we go further, we will dive deeply into encryption. Moving on, data quality. So with the data quality, data can be assessed with the following 6 core dimensions: the accuracy, the completeness, consistency, timeliness, uniqueness, and validity. Remember, our data is coming in messy. Some people might be in a very bad mood they collected that data. If they just had a breakup, they're hungover, it's going to affect accuracy. So you'd be getting maybe information for temperatures of a particular city, and then you are seeing 1 million degrees Celsius. You know that something is wrong. Or their values even missing. They are not in the mood to work that day. Consistency, timeliness. When you are streaming, for example, let's say you're building a recommender system, a live recommender system, you know your data has been coming in live. Imagine if Netflix refers the movies they think you might like years after you stop using your Netflix account, or months after you stop using your Netflix account. It makes sense. Or Instagram shows you, or Facebook, people you may know to follow or who have been stalking your account. And it's not immediate. It's maybe when you were 19, you had a celebrity crush. When you are now 30, you realize that crush was an idiot. You no longer have celebrity crushes. And then that's when Facebook is telling you, you won't want to follow this person, or Instagram saying, you won't want to follow this person. To make sense. Timeliness, very important for your pipeline, depending on what you are doing. Uniqueness, you check for duplicate records where they shouldn't, you check, are they duplicate records where they shouldn't be? Before I go forward, what tool can we use to check for uniqueness in our data set? Going once, going twice, quickly, type it out. I've mentioned it, we have been mentioning it from the start of this session. What tool have we mentioned in this session that we can use to check for uniqueness? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So you check for this. You can see this information, like I said, is just in one slide. I could say it, and in a couple of sentences, I could list them out. In fact, there are a list. What I believe you me, when you're using Spark to do this, you would rest small, you take a breather, then continue. Yes, because you are now handling big data, and you would have to check, and check, and check, and check. May you have the patience and discipline to do it properly. Amen. Now, our data lineage, asking who, what, where, when, why, and how. Who created the data? Who is using that data? Who changed the data? Why are we doing all these things? Like I said, especially when it comes to data lineage, that is one of the key reasons for data lineage. There are some people like, okay, everything is working fine, for Christ's sake. Why am I still now documenting the data about the data and why everything is working fine? Remember, I mentioned anything can happen. We need a trail. We need to trace. And even though nothing bad happens, even if it's something good, what if you want to replicate it? Are we still together? So not just for investigation, if something bad happens, let's say it's good, it's resilient. You build daily pipeline in the world that has never, for years, it never broke down until you tore down the infrastructure, and not for 1 second there was no failure. Okay, how did this genius do this? so that we can replicate it. What kind of data was there? What were the changes made? Were people still working data and the pipeline was still up? What tools did you use? You find out where the data come from, where is data stored? So you ask these questions. And there are different tools you can use for that. You can use Azure Purview, Apache Atlas, Kibola, Octopi, etc. When you get there, there's many tools you can use to jump into and use them. So don't stress about that. But just want to let you know the clearly need. Very critical, very important for you to know. Now, that brings us to the end of this session. I hope you are not bored. I hope you learned one or two things. Let me have your questions. I'm checking the Q&A. There's nothing there. So any questions, people? Talk to me. Talk to me. Did everybody understand everything in today's session? So I know we are all humans. Life is happening. Life is lifing. We are doing hard things. By the time we get to writing code, a lot of us, because I think Spark is the last module, a lot of us might have forgotten a lot of these things. But like I said, go to the content on Athena, practice, listen, you can watch these videos, and then you'll be up to speed. If I start the course, you can still choose to go through everything again as a refresher. You will now be like, oh, okay. And a lot of things will make sense. I hope we're still together. All right. Cheesy says, what skills should we practice to give us good preparation for upcoming projects? So, listening skills, reading skills, comprehension skills. In this course, you need to really grasp the concepts. Yes, we say practice Python and SQL. But have you heard the phrase headless chicken? It is someone like a headless chicken. Could know all the code and still build a very terrible pipeline. You have all the technical skills, but without understanding the concepts, you build a very terrible pipeline. And you'll be proud of it and bragging. But anyone experiencing that, what you've done is, so for anything, one thing I've noticed, people get eager. Let's do the code. Let's do the code. Please focus on grasping the concepts. Then apart from that, your Python, your SQL, practice them as much and as often as you can. Where can we get scenario-based practice for system design questions? Everywhere. You just need to ask. Everywhere. It's available everywhere, online, everywhere. You can just go ahead. But for now, I wouldn't say you should focus on that. Thank you for my train of thought. If you notice, you had to pass through different courses to get here. For most of us, you had to do the DA. From there, you had to do Python before getting here. There's a method to that because we want you to think a certain way. That's why. So when we communicate these concepts to you, you grasp it, and then when we're writing code, a lot of things make sense. Maybe when we get there, you understand. You have your own moment. I understand. Okay, this is why we are doing this. Because you find out that some of the concepts we discussed here have to be implemented in your Python function. But if you can't connect the two together, you just see a simple Python function that does this. Okay, why does it do it? Okay, okay, provide security. Okay, why are we using this particular package or this particular platform, not that platform? So it's very important that you grasp the concepts. Okay. In the Q&A, I think there's a question there in the live. So, Stephen, if you want a quick review for everything, I suggest kindly please watch the recording, please. The recording will be made available latest by Friday. Can you watch the recording? We just went through various concepts and we just did a practical of joint architectural diagram step by step. Just talk about data security, lineage, the importance in data engineering. But please kindly have a review of the recording to be made available latest Friday. But I'm sure by tomorrow the recording should be up. I'm going to be on nose people's neck to make sure that the recording is up. So you could even check by tomorrow. I don't want to promise today, but you know what? Even this evening, check. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question. Let me see. Okay. Jethro says, are they usually security experts to test and verify? That's you. You are the security, you are the chief security, you're the chief security officer of your pipeline. Yes, there might be people to red team it, but that's you. You will be the security expert. So I'm glad you're asking this question. So your mind, you can now start realigning to understand, okay, wow, I need to know this. So whenever I bring it up, um, yeah, yeah, like I said, you can even hire people to red team your pipeline or your application. Companies do that all the time. But I'm saying, okay, I'm saying at its core, you are the chief security officer, but fine. If you want to go that way, you want a red team to um um perform QA or to prove your pipeline, fine. Why not? You can outsource it. But at its core, you are the chief security officer of your pipeline. All right. The Q&A, I see no more questions. Okay. I think I can release the poll now. So the poll is out. Fill it out. Let's know how you feel. Let's know if you learn one or two things. Let me bring this down. Okay. Don't forget on the help to ask the ALX data team for help if you have any issues. On FreshDex, if you're having issues with the platform, you can log into Athena, you can log into AnswerBase. Or AnswerBase, if you have technical questions about the course, if it's so confusing, you can just take a screenshot and fire away and just paste it there. Say, I don't even know how to type this question. Just look at this. You see what my screen is telling me, what is happening. And then we take it from there with you. You have these 3 MCQs due next week Monday. Please do not panic. Do not panic. We're all finishing this course, but they are due next week Monday. Should be at this stage, should be easy peasy for you guys. It will be. And I'm not just saying it, normally. No, I actually mean if you go to the content, you should pass this 3 MCQs. You are not alone. We are here for you. Don't forget to post your wins, your challenges, your insights on eHub, on all social media platforms. We want to hear your story. All helps to improve this entire process for you and for everyone coming after you. So thank you very much, beautiful people. And I'll see you next week.
in such a rush to leave the tide pool when the only things waiting for us on shore are the sands of time and the hungry seagulls of slowly growing apart?
Man, I really need this biology class.